and I want to go back and go over some areas that I may have misspoke or may have not provided enough clarity. Under immigration, I wanted to say that the order stated that deportation for illegal immigrants who committed a crime or are accused of a crime. I do support that and I agree with that. There are several in here who have committed crimes and who have been accused of crimes, to include the caseworker who assaulted me in October of 2019. She was accused of a crime. I have a police report and she's still here. The lady next door is still here. I also want to clarify that I said that the collateral damage was for legal immigrants. Actually, the collateral damage is for illegal immigrants. And, the immigrants in this building, the majority of them are illegal, and there's a couple of them that are illegal immigrants that work here in this building, and they were the ones that engaged in the aiding and abetting and providing and ensuring that she had everything she needs, despite of the court order deportation. The woman who also assaulted the Holocaust survivor, she assaulted me too, and I called the police were called, and they didn't do anything to her. She managed to get through that unscathed, pretty much unscathed. The budget, I wanted to speak about the rental assistance program. I am under a rental assistance program here, and I wanted to state that one of the reasons why I am going to ensure that every recipient is directly receiving their rental assistance program is because when I moved into this building under the rental assistance program, it paid for my entire rent. And it continued to pay for my entire rent. And one day, the program that I don't participate in is volunteer, and I chose not to participate. They decided that they wanted to make me participate. So one day, one of the ladies down there, she was the program director at the time, she decided to call down to HRA, to the rental assistance program, and tell them to reduce my assistance amount. And by doing that, it will cause me to have to participate in the program. They have this policy here that if you participate in the program, you will not have to pay a personal contribution amount. I never had to pay one before. And she said that, if you participate, you will not have to pay a personal contribution. They wanted me to participate. I refused to participate. So they called down there. They were able to literally place a phone call. They called down there and had them reduce the rental assistance amount. And that way I would have no choice but to participate. I still haven't participated. We went to housing court. We went back and forth. The landlord tried to evict me over it. We went to housing court, and I showed where I was receiving the full amount. And I showed where my personal contribution was like $200 and something after the phone call. Then it went up to, it was like 260 something, and then it went up to 280 something. Then it went down to 180 something, and then it went down to like $50 a month. And I was able to show that to the judge. They could not explain, HRA, the rental assistance, could not explain how the personal contribution was fluctuating every year like it did. And they could not explain why my full rental assistance amount was changed. There was no reason for it to have been changed, and they could not explain why it was changed. So the judge dismissed the case. And that is one of the reasons why I want the recipients to receive their rental assistance directly. Also, it'll allow them to control where they live. With the rental assistance, the way it is, the program the way it is now, they tell you where to live. They control where you live. They control how you live. But if you're receiving it directly, you have more control over your locations. Under law enforcement and crime prevention, I wanted to include that when the lady next door, when she assaulted me and the police arrived, one of the Latina police officers spoke with her, and then she spoke with me. And when the emergency services was called, and I was trying to go into to seek care for them because I was hurt. I was assaulted and I was hurt. And when they turned to the woman there, to the lady next door, to assist her, she refused to allow them to assist her. And when they did, one of the police officers was going to ask her more questions, and something happened in between there to where she says she could not go with them and she could not go with the emergency services because she was illegal. The thing I want to add was that she spoke to the Latina police officer that was there, the Latina female police officer, and she said, "I am illegal, and so are you." And when she did, the Latina police officer reached in and closed her door on her. So you know how you slam the door on someone else? She closed her door on the woman in the apartment next door. But before she did it, she said, "You should not. You have no business being in here, fighting in here. You have no business fighting in this building," or something to that nature. And she slammed the door in her face, and then she turned toward the another. She turned toward me. The reason why I want to ensure that every police officer that works for NYPD, legal immigrant, or can provide proof of legal status is because of what she stated. If you are an illegal immigrant and you have managed to become a police officer, you do not want anyone down at the police precinct speaking about how you are illegal. So you're going to do everything you can to make sure that they're not down there. It also subjects the police officer to blackmail, extortion, most especially coercion, because people can tell them to do things or not to do things, which took place on that morning, not to do things, so that they don't tell that they are illegal. I want to ensure that everyone that works for the NYPD is a legal resident or can provide proof of citizenship. To the budget with the rental assistance. Every year you have to go down there and you have to reapply or submit information for the rental assistance. Under my administration, you will only have to do that every 2, 3, or maybe even 4 years, and you will only do it online. There will be no reason to go down there because you will be receiving your rental assistance directly through direct deposit. And I want to say, not only my personal experience led to this policy. But also, every time I go down there, I hear of people that go there and they complain about how the problems that they're having with the rental assistance, how they're not always paying their landlords when they say they're going to do it, how they will complain that their landlords are trying to evict them because they said that they're not receiving the rent check. And they would, HRA would say, well, we did send it, but it was going direct deposit to the landlord instead of the recipient. They would say that, they were having problems with their apartment and they didn't want to continue to pay the rent to that landlord. They wanted to find another apartment and they weren't able to do that. You're not able to do that. You have to go where they send you. And they also would complain about a variety of different problems, different things with the rental assistance with HRA. This further allows me I will ensure that they are receiving their rental assistance directly through direct deposit so that they can control where they live and they can control the landlord getting their money. Long-term actions with the federal background checks and selective service registry will include biological male civil servants, active and retired. Federal background checks will include civil servants with local, state, and federal, and the findings will reflect on the police officers, biological male and female, with respect to their retirements or their pensions. If you have not registered for the selective service and you are retired or, you're receiving a pension, that will reflect. And if you are unable to provide proof of citizenship and you are retired or receiving a pension, that will reflect, that will be taken into consideration, and you can lose that. If you have any questions or comments, please leave your questions and your comments, and I will answer these and address them at a later date. Thank you so much for watching.